So, we've been indulging on those big, impy IPAs for just a little too long now. But our Pentrich marathon is far from done just yet. As today we have ourselves a cherry sour, the Electric Sun. A 7% fruited sour, jam-packed with 100 milligrams per litre of sour cherry puree. Bright red in colour with a foamy pink head. Sounds interesting enough, looking forward to seeing what it's like in the glass. This super fruity sour ale is packed with intense cherry flavours, with a bracing sourness in the finish. So it's safe to say we might be in for a few silly faces with this one. Let's pucker up. Let's get pouring. So they sure weren't lying about that appearance. It is ruby red and clear as a ruby too. And there was a subtle pink tinge to that head, although it has subsided quite quickly. But again, to be expected with a sour. It is quite creamy on the nose. It's got a pate filou yogurt type feel to it. And that cherry, of course, very present there too. And you are just getting a subtle feel for some of those sour acids in the bottom there. So it is, of course, those sour notes that really hit you first, real tart on the tongue. And that cherry, it's got a lovely balance between being fruity and being ever so subtly dry too. And although you are getting a feel for some of that lactic acid, it's not full on lambic strength. It is being balanced off by some of those aforementioned creamy notes. And although that carbonation really is eating away at any head, it doesn't feel too overly carbonated in the mouth. It's actually got a real smoothness to it. And there is an almost red currant note in those middles. Does give it an almost red wine feel to it. And now we're down into the beer some. It has lost some of that early smoothness, and it's those sharp, tart notes that are really starting to dominate in the body. And some of that early creaminess has faded, and some of those acidic notes are starting to take much more of a hold. That red currant red wine note really is starting to feel just a little heavier now, no doubt aided by that 7% ABV. It's starting to feel less like a dessert or a child's treat and more like a good old-fashioned lambic sour. And it has developed an ever so subtle metallic note in there too. And although it may not be, say, a creek boon, it is still a very impressive cherry sour.